Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Denizen Sucks podcast.
Denizen sucks. Let me tell you, we're like clickbait in reverse. Okay, we're like the internet equivalent of an empty hook,
Yes, we
just
suck.
just in the water. That's what we are. That's it.
Yep, that's
Yep.
right. We are so grateful though to have joining us tonight, Uncle Kunkel's 1 gram band. Welcome to the pod.
Uncle Kunkel.
What's
My
up?
God.
Yeah,
You
what's
guys are
up?
awesome. Thank you so much for being on.
We have Wyatt.
Oh yeah, what's up, guys? How you guys
Wyatt.
doing? Thank you guys so much for having me.
Is that Wyatt Graham is that where the 1 gram comes from?
That's
That
right.
is pretty much where it comes from. Yeah, I mean it was and believe it or not, our percussion player's last name is Kunkel, so
Right. And we just got an additional how's it going, by the way?
MG.
Drummer.
Mr. Matthew Gruby.
We got Matthew Gruby, and we have Luke Walker.
Yeah.
There you go. Guitarist. We
Awesome.
got the whole crew. Frankly, I mean, not quite the whole crew, to be honest, but thanks so much for joining in. First thing, I just want to say the desperate importance of a good logo. Okay, we're talking like the Rolling Stones' tongue. We're talking the Grateful Dead bears. You guys have an awesome logo. I just want to ask you about that. It's the gnome with the one. Yeah, who did that? And where'd that come
came
from?
about. That came about because I used to work like stagehand union gigs in DC, and I was at Capital One Arena, and me and Wyatt are like sitting every day, like whether it's like an album cover or a logo or a piece of merch or something, me and Wyatt like break our necks over thinking about like what's gonna resonate with people. And I'm sitting on the back of a
so
truck.
hard. Yeah.
And I look up, and on top of this forklift are a bunch of this lady who drives this one forklift has a bunch of gnomes all across the top of her forklift. And I was like,
Nice.
that's got to be it. And then I thought about like, this little thing kind of is like representative of the jam scene, like Cash Your Trades logo, because it's like I'm looking for a ticket, but it's also the number associated with our band. So yeah, I love that logo.
I love the logo, man. Like
that was drawn by our friend Nick Kramer, who does a lot of our artwork.
It's hard to get a good logo.
Shout out Nick.
It is.
Yeah.
Where are you guys?
I'm glad you like it.
Where are you guys calling in from?
Baltimore.
Yeah, let's go. Charm City. I spent 4 years of my life there.
Oh, nice. Where at?
I went to undergrad at Johns Hopkins.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Love Baltimore. Great city.
Oh yeah, we've been here as a band for about 3 years, and we've been doing a lot of venues like the 8x10.
8x10.
Like,
you guys must yeah.
Oh yeah, and then we love local venues or like local bars, I guess, like Catside Pub, and then we actually have a gig coming up at like Soundstage we have, and then so we try to hit, we're trying to hit a lot of the good spots in Baltimore.
Have you guys played Auto Bar?
We never have. I would really like to, because I like the attitude of that place a lot.
Yes.
It's not very jam centric. And some of our songs aren't very jam centric. Some of them are. But like, I would love to play Auto Bar and get like a mosh pit going and like really like, just rage out there. I've seen a bunch of great shows there.
Oh yeah, so have I. Yeah, we used to go as undergrads a lot down there. It's a great venue.
Yeah. You go to Club Chuck afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm dating myself. This is like we're talking 15 plus years ago. So I'm an old man, ladies and gentlemen, but hey, we're out here. MG, what's up, man? Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Are you also in Baltimore?
I'm in Baltimore City. Yep.
Nice. Awesome, guys. Well, I mean, I could jump into, I guess, one question I had is maybe just talk us through the founding of the band, and just a little bit about that. Like, where did you guys meet, et cetera, et cetera?
Why we can split this story in half if you'd like. I'll
Yeah.
tell my version, you tell yours. I'll make mine quick. Uh, First week of school, we went to Salisbury University, and it was originally me, Wyatt, and the percussion player Jake Kunkel. And we were a trio. Kunk was playing kit back then, and we were just doing bar gigs and stuff. But that came about because I was at a party the first week of school. Nobody really had friends.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to say, so Kunkel is like percussion and you're drums.
Yeah, he's a percussion player.
Right. Okay. So we're clear. Yeah.
But then, anyways, first week of school, I'm at a party and I see Wyatt wearing a Grateful Dead shirt, and I've really got no friends at that point. It's the first week of school, so I see Wyatt wearing a Dead shirt, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta go talk to that guy. And we walked home together that night and just talked about music and a bunch of artists we had in common. We were like, oh, we should start a band. And then he didn't add me back like on Snapchat or something for like a month. And I was like scouring the hallways, like, dude, I gotta find that guy again. Like he plays bass or he plays guitar and bass and like whatever. And then I saw him eating at the Commons and I was like, dude, remember me? I play guitar. We gotta form a trio or something. And after that we did, and we became best friends and just started playing, Jimi Hendrix songs and Sublime and all this stuff. But then he showed me, Fish, Pigeons, all the twiddle, all the jam stuff.
Right.
And I was like, we took mushrooms together and my mind was blown. I was like, we can do something like this, and here we are.
Yeah,
Nice.
we went to and Kunkel and I were in high school bands and then in 2018 when we went to Salisbury University, we knew we had to find a guitarist. So at the time, Jake Kunkel, he was playing drums before he played percussion, and Luke was playing a guitar, and we had another guitarist and keyboardist. His name was Matt, but he played with us for about a year, and it was great. But then we parted
Forgot
ways,
about that.
and then it was a three piece of Jake Kunkel on drums, and then bass, and then guitar, and then it wasn't up until, and that was probably 8 years ago, and then it wasn't up until 3 or 4 years ago that we found a keyboardist and a second drummer, Matthew, we we thought Kunkel would be a good fit for percussion, and then he fell in love with that, and then we then we were with a keyboardist for about a year and a half, 2 years, and we did a lot of progress with that, and then we found another keyboardist, and then we've been in this 5-piece ever since.
So if I'm understanding, we have like a Guns N' Roses kind of situation where like we have like the percussion section is doing their own thing independently. Like I want to know more about that, MG, about like you and Jake, like how that came about. And so you're your own thing, and then Luke and Wyatt are doing their own thing, like, and then you come together. Do I have that right?
I don't know how we do what we do. It just kind of happens. I think like because Jake is a great drummer on the kit as well, and it started off. I was in another band and we were playing a gig together where my other band played before, One Grand Band, and they also were playing with the same keyboard player from my other band. So it just kind of made sense. I had percussion already on the stage because I had somebody jump up with that band and feature in that band. So when One Gram called me up, they're like, come on up, Matthew Groovy coming up. He's going to join us from the other band, and
Right.
as soon as I played that first song, Wyatt turned around. He said, stay right there. You're not going anywhere, and
Yeah.
so we just kept playing. I played the whole set with them. And then we tried some different things out. We tried 2 full kits together. We tried each of us jumping back and forth on kit and on percussion.
You had the 2 full
and
kits at one point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we did.
we
Like
did
all,
for a couple
That's
gigs.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's some Grateful
It was
Dead
fun.
Allman Brothers stuff.
Allman Brothers, let's go.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's
You
awesome.
guys,
That's awesome
like,
if you can make
a
it work.
lot of your tracks with the percussion remind me a lot of the best days of the Allman Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. It was different. But I think we just found our sound when Jake really took to percussion and then decided to, invest in like nice, percussion sounds. And it just sounds so good. And the two of us have, I don't know, we just found our groove, and yeah, we're two peas in a pod now, obviously playing with Wyatt. So it's like, I always look at like the bass as like that bridge between the other melodic instruments and the drums, like that drum and bass is that thing, but that bass is that melodic bridge, and it's really helpful. But I love playing to Luke's, solos, and wherever Luke's going. I love playing to where John's going. We just we go with the flow with where the vibe's going.
I want to
And I
know.
will say, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I was just gonna say, all props to Kunk. He uh, wasn't a sole percussion player and very quickly like bloomed into a really good one. Out of all the percussion players I know in our city right now, Kunk would get that call over a lot of people, and he's really become pretty badass at the congas and stuff, and he's very selfless and is just down to do whatever. So
I want to ask about that. Like, was that like a step down? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm a guitar player. I don't know these things about, but like, was that like a conversation you had, MG? Like you're gonna do percussion and I'm gonna or was it just like organic, or how did that work?
well, so there's a period of time where we were doing two kits. Sorry, I'll throw it to you, Groovy, in a second. But there was a period. I remember having to think about this conversation. There's a period of time where we were doing two kits, because we didn't want to being moved from the kit to the percussion can feel like a demotion.
100.
But compared to all the jam bands that we listen to, whether it be, I don't know if Widespread has percussion, but String Cheese, Allman Brothers, whoever, Widespread, so for a second there, maybe Kunk wasn't totally on board with the decision, but then doing two kits became kind of sloppy and a little bit more rowdy than we were looking for, and eventually,
soundtrack.
I don't know. Kunk just his bones hardened, and he was like, "I'm down," and he, that's all. I say he's very selfless because he's always been there in the band and is willing to do it again. And he has become an incredible percussion player now. So, but there was a period where it was almost, a tension point of, what are we going to do with this? Because we really love Groovy on the Kid as well. So
I will say, to my ear, like, that is very standout about your band, that they, you have that percussion aspect to it. It's so awesome. And so it really adds a lot, but I'm sure that could be maybe a hit or something.
It's a hard, it was a hard conversation to have. And then we actually did a tour where Kunkel had a family situation or something. He couldn't come on the tour. And I was thinking, oh man, I wonder how this is going to sound. Is it going to sound, a little less righteous and stuff? And we played 4 shows without percussion, and I was thinking I might like it more, and I didn't. And I was like, wow, that's really missing from our sound this weekend. And when he came back, that first show back with him, I was like, there we are. We're back. It felt really good. So it made me really appreciate, just all that stuff. Whereas as a guitarist, sometimes I'm listening to stuff and I'm like, oh, there's too much going on. I can't, hear anything. But I will say complain about that less.
100%. I will say, from our own production experience, we're doing an album right now, gonna be out hopefully in sometime in 2027. I feel like percussion gets a short shrift. It's super hard to do. Conga, good, tambo, that is its own.
It is.
We learned that in the studio.
Yeah, it is. It has taken a while for us to figure that stuff out, but with this new album that we're putting out, that's coming out in a couple weeks, it's been a lot of the songs, the percussion has been at the forefront of the song, and it's kind of been the thing that's been driving some of these studio songs that sit really well in the record, and so I think that we took enough time before we put out this record to figure it out with Matthew and him to be playing hand in hand, and not stepping over each other's lines and
leaving gaps for each other.
yeah.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about the new record. Where did you guys record it? Album release date. Tell us all.
We recorded the new record in Owens Mills, right up here in the county, and
Yep.
We recorded it. I think the studio is called Black Dog Audio. There's another podcast that we learned about the studio through the Sanity Lounge podcast. If you've ever heard of them, they do a podcast much like this, and their podcast studio is there, and they'll do like 30 minutes of performance, and then we'll go in and do an interview. And we saw the studio, and I was like, oh, we should do an album here. And Chris Wheel, it's his studio. He was the engineer on it, and he got to be like an assistant engineer on Undermined, that Fish record, and like a Warren Haynes record and an OAR record and stuff. So there was like enough of his work where I was like, oh, okay, if you worked on a Fish record, you'll understand some of the wacky shit we're trying to do with our songs,
Right.
Not that we're that much like Fish, but like some of these songs are like, what the hell, is this? So once I saw that on his wall, I was like, oh, we should do it here. And it was great. And we knocked it out in like 7 days, I think. And just kind of did a good job of like cutting the fluff out where we could and being happy with takes that we could be happy with, and not, I'm kind of the nitpicker being the guitarist, but Wyatt did a good job of keeping me sane and helping produce a good record where I wasn't trying to fine tune every little single thing, because sometimes those things are the things you can't recreate are the best part of the record,
Right. 100%.
Yeah, and I think it's a really good studio take of our sound, because our sound is very live, and so when we went in there, we were thinking a little bit more on the lines. It still sounds raw, but it's got a little bit more of a studio take than we were hoping for, that we wanted, and so that'll be so that record, and it sounds great. It's like, I think the press vinyls just came in today, so we made it a vinyl, so we had the time on it, so it's 7
we had to chop shit down.
Yeah, so we had to chop it down and make it good, and it sounds so good. I think it's like perfect timed for a record, 44 minutes, and it's the artwork is beautiful. Luke's fiance, she had a poster in her wall in the houses that we would practice in college, that has been there for years. And when we were thinking about the album, what we were going to make the art cover, we just couldn't really think of it, but we knew what we wanted. We knew we wanted like a look like faces. We knew we wanted them to be like talking to each other, because a lot of the album is talking about, the songs are talking about conversations. And then one day Luke and I were having a conversation in an office, and we looked up and it was there, and we're like, that should just be the art cover. And so
yeah, why you walked in and were like, that's it. I was like, okay, cool. And the cool thing about the album cover is it's a piece of art that was created like before I met my fiance, maybe even before Wyatt knew her in high school, and we all went to college together. And so that piece of art has been like hanging in the houses that we used to practice in college, and like, it's always kind of just been there while we're partying and doing stuff. And finally we looked at it, we're like, that might be it. So and then the album's coming out June 16th, which is not a Friday, it's a Tuesday. And I know a lot of people are like, why aren't you putting it out on a Friday? Because I don't believe in New Music Friday. We're putting it out on a Tuesday.
God bless.
Next
we're
week.
Breaking the rules.
Next week.
It is going
next week. And then the vinyls will be fully in hand. We got the test pressings today, and I literally just got done listening to the test pressing, and it sounds great. So
yeah, and we already have 2 singles out on Spotify and all streaming platforms, Bandcamp, Apple Music. 2 singles are already out, and the artwork for the singles play on the album artwork, so they're really beautiful. Like, and also, going back to, you were talking about having like a logo, how important that is. One thing I've been striving for, and we all have together, but is, we've had the gnome for a long time. So I was thinking, I was like, with this new artwork, I want to incorporate, some new some new logos, whether it be for merch or for, for like that kind of look that you were talking about. Because even the Grateful Dead had the bears and the skeletons and the roses. So it's like it's okay. Like I'm trying to think about more ways to enhance the brand and enhance the look. And I think that like we
That
hit
logo is fucking awesome. I gotta say, the gnome is it's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's amazing! It's
And it-
amazing, and I'm so like I think it's exactly what we are. It exactly incorporates what we're about. But we've had it for 5 years, so I'm like, I'm like,
Wyatt, this is an ongoing feud for me and Wyatt is like, no, the
I need
gnome should
more.
stay. It's fine. And Wyatt's just like, well, Wyatt wants new merch
What
designs.
new
But the
merch
nice
design?
thing, what we have done in the past 5 years is gotten so many people in Baltimore, in Virginia, in Pennsylvania, in North Carolina. I tour with another band, and we will go all the way to Georgia, and I'll see somebody with a 1 gram band shirt on with the gnome, and it's great, So, like we see them all over the city. We see the gnome stickers slapped up everywhere, and it's just like a nice little thing. So I'm
It's
glad it caught on.
Can I ask what the 1 gram band aspect is, or
It,
Yes,
it
the 1 gram band aspect comes from a couple different places. It's Wyatt's last name, but also when we were in Salisbury, Salisbury used to have a really great band scene. Pigeons used to come down and play, or
oh, nice.
Litz. It still does, but like right around the time we were there, we were kind of the only ones playing very psychedelic music, that had long jams and stuff like that. And not a lot of people were, super into that at first and stuff. And we all lived together and we grew mushrooms. And we learned that by giving people wet mushrooms right out of the box, we
yeah,
can invite them to our backyard and get them into it. And then they didn't care that there was no singing because they were off 1 gram, a nice safe dose of 1 gram to get
hey,
you started.
God bless.
And
Nice.
and that was kind of thing. But really, Wyatt's friend from high school said it once, Uncle Kunkel's 1 gram band, and it stuck. And through that, we kind of manifested the mushroom properties out
Yeah,
of that. The name
Fair
actually
enough.
came first,
yeah,
which is what Wyatt will tell you.
yeah.
Amazing. I do want to mention, I want to bring back one thing that you guys talked about. You did talk about Bandcamp, and I saw that you put almost all of your live shows, like the raw soundboards, on Bandcamp. And, obviously, I'm sure that caters kind of to your diehard fans. But I'm wondering if you guys get a sense of like, would it overwhelm like a casual listener? I'm just kind of like curious what your thought process there is. It just like, hey, let's just put everything up? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Question.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is overwhelming to your average listener. Today, I had a doctor's appointment with a new doctor who was like a very nice African man, and he asked me about the band, and I pulled up the band camp and I showed him a couple things, and I was like, "Wow, this is like weird sounding," but it's also like, yeah, it's for the people. Anybody who wants to check us out, like some of our short songs will be on the album, but the soundboards have the longer jammed out
Right,
versions and stuff, and
right.
but it's also for people like we try and keep a lot of the banter in there. Even if there's a solo at one show where I bombed it, and just I like it sounds like I had a stroke, but you still put it up because it's not really for you, it's for the people that were there in the room that night and they get to go back and like listen to the air in the room and what
Right.
it sounded like that night. And I think that's really important. And even when I
Yeah,
return to like a really old soundboard, I'm like, wow, I remember this. It's
I
cool.
think that's awesome that you guys are like, well, in the age of like everything needs to be polished and fantastic. I think it's cool that you guys are embracing of like, look, yeah, there's going to be times when we screw up on stage and it's okay because like, hey, we're all human. And that kind of leads into my next question, which is like, look, we're bands like we have nights where everything kind of goes wrong. I'm kind of curious if you can recall any examples where it's like your most chaotic show or your most disastrous live show you've ever played, and
Oh boy.
how did you guys get through it?
Wyatt, tell them about your bass the other night at the 8x10.
I was going to talk about like 4 days ago.
Oh yeah, that too.
So like, a couple of
We
days
want to
ago,
bring you on the podcast because it's dead as in sucks. We want to bring you on the podcast when you sucked. That's what
yeah.
we know.
Oh,
Yeah.
there we go. Well, I don't know about.
No, I'm kidding, of course.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, the 8x10 when I broke a string and I didn't have a backup string or backup bass, that was a little rough. That was a rough time, and
The
I
sold
kind of
out
wanted
show.
I sort of, I wanted a little bit of a panic mode, but the energy of that was really great. And similar to like a couple days ago, we had a show at a festival. It was called Shakedown Festival. It was a lot of fun. We played it last year in Catonsville, Maryland, and it was a beautiful day. And we were slotted to play 7 to 8, I believe, and it was a beautiful day. And then the radar was saying that there was a big old like thick like red thing like wave of rain and storm coming at right at 7 o'clock. That's gonna and it was perfect timing. And so we already we're short our keyboardist and had to have a new a sitting keyboardist who luckily he played great that day, but we didn't have a rehearsal, so we went into that with that in mind. And then we had to postpone, and then Chris Jacobs played before us, and then we had to postpone our show for like 30 minutes. So we had to rip up a 30-minute set with a double rainbow. And then
Nice. All the way across the
it
sky.
was amazing. And then Luke had to leave at 8, exactly at 8, to make another show with his other band. So we were like,
It was a big panic day. My biggest panic freak out moment was in DC at Union Stage. It was like one of our first big opportunities in DC, opening for Dogs in a Pile, who are young guys who we all really respect, and we've since gotten to play some more shows with them. But this is our first one with them. We really want to impress them, and all good. And we come out, and there's 500 people in front of us, and they're all dogs in a pile. We have our friends, but like the rail is dogs in a pile of people who are just kind of looking at you. And my pedal board goes out on the first song, maybe. I think it was like my first nice solo that was like a composed thing that I wrote. And I click on my distortion and the entire signal dropped. And that's back when my pedal board, my rig was still pretty janky and bad power source and all this stuff. So it didn't come on for 3 minutes, and the guys held it down for 3 minutes, and I was down there sweating, freaking out. Kind of killed my vibe.
I remember that
I
now.
really wanted to impress these guys, but
It
since
happens.
then, that taught me, like, make sure your patch cables are nice. Make sure everything is velcroed and doesn't move. Make sure your power source is good. Make sure you got clean power and all that stuff. So it taught me a lot. But I remember going home that night and wanting to punch the wall. I was upset.
I remember
It's
the
awesome to
crowd.
hear. Great.
cheering
Those are
after that.
great stories. And yeah, we have a bunch of similar ones as well, but we won't bore you with them. Dave, did you want to jump into the lightning round?
Yeah. I mean, I actually wanted to ask about.
Go ahead.
You guys have some like awesome instrumentals that you do in live shows. I didn't hear them on your Spotify page so much. I'm thinking of the Shakedown in particular. I think it's so awesome that you do the instrumental. Like, what is the decision there? Is it just we didn't have lyrics? Like we have a couple instrumentals of our own that we've done occasionally, but I will say it takes a certain amount of courage, I think, to do an instrumental with people's attention spans and like keeping people's, so like what is
Yeah.
is there a decision there? Is there like a conscious, this is one we want to make the Shakedown is going to be instrumental. We're not doing lyrics.
Do we have a song called "The Shakedown"? I don't know what you're referring to.
I'm talking about
We're talking about Flatter.
video. I watched a video online.
You must be thinking of. I think I know what you're thinking of. It must be. We have a couple. One of them in particular is called a song called "Flatitude." and you wouldn't know that because we don't say it anywhere in the song because there's no lyrics. And that's one that Luke wrote that it actually will be on the new record, so you will be able to hear that on Spotify. But Luke, if you want to talk about that song.
What
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
talking
know.
about specifically is like I watched a video from your opener at the Vortex.
Yeah, the Shakedown
Shakedown
Festival.
Yeah.
Oh, is there
That's
video of that online already?
Okay, so Shakedown was the festival. I didn't know what it was
From
called.
last year.
I,
It's from
I
last year.
apologize.
Oh,
I didn't know
yeah.
what it was. Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, it's like an awesome jam you guys do, and it's like totally instrumental for like I don't know, like 7-8 minutes, and there's so much variation in the music, and
It was Splatitude. Yeah.
it's really holding
yeah. I
people's
think
attention. There's no question it's riveting. My question to you is that like a conscious decision? We're not gonna, this is just a jam. We're not gonna do lyrics to it, or is there? Yeah, I don't know.
I was thinking about all this because I was just listening to that song on the record and thinking about how it could have lyrics. I was like humming stuff in my head, where I was like, oh, I could have written lyrics
Ah,
to that, but Flatitude came about because I was trying to write a song that had a lot of sections and therefore no room for lyrics, but it was almost like that song. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Sometimes they just don't get
I
lyrics.
think
I don't know.
I think that song's a lot of people's favorites, and I think that song like it really is. It's not it is structured, and it is we do the same patterns each time we play it, but it really does fill enough, I think, and then like and also like with Luke's playing, like we've always felt comfortable, I think, kind of going off a little bit into space and knowing that like there's still going to be a voice somewhere in there with
right.
and now we have a keyboardist, John Brady, playing for us, who's just another voice who's just making it so even in those instrumentals, even in space, there's not just noodling, there's like the playing is still in a talking form, and that's a big part of instrumental. That instrumental, isn't so much talking, but it's more riffs. But
And
we
it's a
do,
nice immersive part of our
Right.
show. Like, it's nice to have an instrumental. Maybe, we learned from other bands that we watch, but it's nice to have that part of the show where it's very, second set, very immersive. And then when you do come back to the next song that has lyrics, it's bright again. And,
Right.
we've made it through the clouds and here we are again. So I think that's like the value that an instrumental has. As for like, how do I decide if it's an instrumental or not? I think it just had too many sections and there was it's kind of like one of those songs that's like a ski slope where it's not like a loop and it comes back around. It's kind of just going one direction, like one of those Mario Kart, where there's instead of
Right.
a lap, it's just straight down. And so therefore it was like, I'm not going to put lyrics to it.
Love that.
So we here on the Denizen Sucks podcast have a very classy free Zoom situation. So we're gonna get cut off.
In 2
I,
minutes.
I wanted to do a lightning round. I don't know that we have time. What I'd like to do,
Yeah.
go ahead, Pete.
I was just gonna say, yeah, like what do you guys want to shout out? Your next shows? Anything that we obviously got your album next Tuesday. Anything else you want to shout out?
We're playing Baltimore Soundstage October 30th after the Billy Strings at CFG Arena.
Holy
And
shit.
we're
Nice.
headlining. It's the biggest venue in Baltimore we've played. We'd love to sell it out and maybe even get Billy Strings in there to play some Alice in Chains or something. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
Come on, Billy.
Mischief
come on, Billy.
Night.
Come on the pod, Billy. Also,
That's right.
And yeah, and it depends on when this podcast comes out, I guess. On June 16th, we have a show, our last show at the 8x10 with 5 Spot, and that's also the day that our album Hearsay comes out. Hearsay is not a song on the album, but it doesn't matter. It's
To Wyatt's reluctance, there is no title track.
It very much, but it very much captures what the album is about. So we would love if everybody would give it a full listen and you know, judge it as they will. But we're pretty proud of this album, and it's gonna be our first full length album to come out. So
amazing.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get cut off, so I'm gonna cut us off and say thank you again.
Thank you, guys.
Uncle Kunkel.
One
we
Grand
will link
Band
in the comments, and thank you guys so much for coming on the Denizen Sucks podcast. Great to have you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Check them out at the 8x10 next week.
Uncle Kunkel sucks.
Uncle Kunkel sucks.